My friend's panic attacks took over my life until I lied about a doctor visit to escape. Now she says I betrayed her and I'm the villain. My lifelong family friend since the age of 3, we're both 28. When we were children, our parents were close friends, and they had another friend who was emotionally and physically abusive towards us from the ages of 10 to 16. We both have deep-rooted issues and trauma from it. I've been in therapy for 5 years to work on my issues from this abusive adult, but also other things in my life. I feel like emotionally I'm at a really good stage in my life. I don't dress that up when I say it. I mean, I actually do the work, sit in a too bright room on a too soft couch, and drag the rod up into the light. I've named it, picked it apart, learned where my own bullshit starts and ends. I know my triggers, and I try to not make them other people's problem. It's not pretty, but it's honest. My friend, call her Elle, never went to therapy. She says therapy is for people who can't keep their shit together on their own. And then she laughs like it's a joke, like she didn't flinch when a door slammed behind her last summer at my place and drop a glass of water because the sound hit some deep old nerve. She's always been like that. Loud, magnetic, the one cracking the joke that makes everyone look, then watching your face a little too closely to see if you laugh. She loves hard and fast, and if love doesn't answer right now, she pounds on the door until her hands hurt. We survived the same shitstorm. The difference is I crawled out and asked for a map. She kept running in circles and called it stamina. The thing with Elle is she's never alone. I don't mean socially. She's a magnet for people. I mean romantically. She lines them up like a conveyor belt. When one slips off, she's got the next one half installed before the old one is even cold. She calls it keeping it moving. I call it not knowing what silence sounds like. Her attachment is anxious as hell. She needs feedback every hour that she exists and that she's safe and wanted. If she doesn't get it, she spirals. She knows this about herself in the way people know their favorite color. She can say it, but it doesn't change the way she dresses. In groups, she'll sometimes throw a jab at me that lands close to bone. Oh, look at Ms. Boundaries over here when I say I'm tired and heading home. Must be nice to have the luxury of space when I don't answer my phone for half a day. It's not cruel, exactly. It's like she needs to tag me with insecurity so she doesn't feel singled out by her own. I let it slide because I know where it comes from, and because picking it up turns every hangout into a seminar she didn't ask to attend. I've sat on a lot of floors with her, kitchen floors, my hallway rug, the gross carpet in a rental Airbnb in Brighton, passing tissues and planning the exit strategies for men who were objectively awful. There was Tom who cheated and then cried about how hard monogamy is for sensitive souls. There was Kieran who called her crazy for checking his phone and then gave her a black eye by accidentally closing a door on her when she tried to leave. Those were easy. You don't need nuance when the villain monologues. This time wasn't like that. She'd been with this guy, call him Jay, for 2 years. Jay wasn't a saint, nobody is, but he was a solid, boringly good boyfriend in the ways that matter. He turned up. He learned her coffee order. He remembered the date her dog died and left flowers. He sent me a panicked text once because Elle was late home and her phone was dead. He was pacing and asking if I'd heard from her because he didn't want to blow up her phone if she was just in yoga class. He was considerate in a way that made me relax around him, and I don't relax around a lot of men. Saturday afternoon, my phone blew up. 8 missed calls, 12 texts stacking on top of each other, so fast the preview couldn't keep up. He left. He ended it. Please pick up. I can't breathe. Those ones I answered on instinct. I grabbed my keys and I drove. She was in her building lobby when I got there, sitting on the cold tile next to the mailboxes like her legs had given out on the walk from the elevator. Mascara everywhere. Hoodie I recognized as Jay's balled up in her lap, like a comfort blanket. When she saw me, she made a noise I only ever heard once before. The time we were 14 and the family friend trapped us in the garage. It was the kind of sound that tears something new on its way out. I'm here, I said because that's what you say. I hauled her up. We went upstairs. I put the kettle on because that's what you do. Breathing is easier with mugs in your hands. She sobbed until the tea went cold. I wrapped her in a blanket and listened. The story came out in chunks. and between the chunks, there were gulps of air like she'd been underwater for weeks. He said he can't do it anymore, she said. He said he feels watched in his own life. Like I'm auditing him. My stomach did a small, private drop. I didn't say anything. She was talking. Let her talk. I only asked normal questions, she said. Who are you with? Where did you go after work? Who are you texting? It's not like I was accusing him. I kept my face neutral. Okay. And like the location thing. He offered that. In the beginning. I didn't even ask. He was like, here, it'll make you feel safe. So I used it. If his little dot was somewhere weird, I'd ask. That's normal. Okay, I said again, because if I said anything else, she would hear judgment and curl around it like a hedgehog. And I'd call him when he was out because I missed him and just wanted to hear I love you. And also because if he didn't answer, my head would go to war with me. Like he's out with X and Y, and X knows that girl from the gym, and maybe she's there. I just needed him to pick up for 1 minute. 1 minute. Why is that so fucking hard? It's not like he's on a moon. The kettle clicked again. I put it back on, forgot I did, put it on again. My kitchen is tiny, and we pasted into a track. He said I dump on him emotionally, she said. That he comes home, and I'm there every day with a new crisis. That's not true. I don't have a crisis every day. I didn't say that a severe lack of crisis didn't match the text she sends me at 2 a.m. like clockwork. She wasn't lying. Her truth is just different when she's bleeding. He said I should talk to someone. Like a therapist, she said, like she was saying like a loan shark. And I said I'd talk to him. Isn't that what you do in a relationship? He said he feels like a drain. He said he never knows when he'll step on a landmine. Like if he doesn't invite me to his friend's thing, I'll spiral. If he does, I'll be mad he didn't plan something for just us. If he's quiet, I think he's hiding something. If he's chatty, I think he's overcompensating. He said he can't win. He said it feels like living with a smoke alarm that won't stop chirping even when there's no fire. She tried to laugh. It came out mean. What kind of metaphor is that? I kept hearing Jay, maybe because I've had those words in my mouth before, not with her, but with other people, other messes. It sounded like a boundary, said in a calm voice that got dismissed as cruelty. We did the breakup triage. I hid his hoodie. I moved photos into a drawer. I unplugged the smart speaker because a song would come on and crack her in half. She couldn't sleep alone, and I didn't argue. I packed a bag for her and brought her back to my flat. The first night she didn't sleep. She just cried and then hiccuped and then started again. Every time she drifted, she jerked awake like her body didn't trust the quiet. I woke up when she did. Not because I'm a saint, because the sound burrowed into that part of my brain that still waits for footsteps on the stairs and reflexes keep you alive. I rubbed her back and breathed with her. I made toast at 3 in the morning just to give her hand a job. She gripped the plate like it would float. At 4, she had a panic attack, so big I thought we were going to the ER. She folded in on herself on my bathroom floor, head between knees, and I held a cold cloth to her neck and counted. In 2, 3, 4. Out 2, 3, 4. She matched me like a swimmer, finally catching a lane line. Her face went from gray to flushed and back to human. I feel insane, she said, and I said, you're not. You're hurt. Saying it didn't cost me anything then. By morning, I felt like a peel grape. She crashed for 2 hours, and I sat on the edge of my bed and stared at the closet door without seeing it. The quiet in my own head felt like a luxury I couldn't afford with her in the room. I'd offered it. I meant it. I just didn't calculate the bill. She stayed into the second night. We walked to the corner shop because she suddenly needed gummy worms like a pregnant woman in a sitcom. On the way back, she saw a car like Jay's and froze mid-step. His seat, she said like she'd seen a ghost. He moved his passenger seat last week. I noticed. I asked. He said he'd given Sam a ride. I said, why does Sam need the seat so far back? He's not that tall. He laughed. He said, Jesus, maybe Sam just likes legroom. Is that weird? That's weird, right? I said slow, already hearing the argument we'd have. Sometimes seats move. In the Tesco receipt, she said, not hearing me. I found one in his backpack. Crisps, pesto, a chocolate bar, tinned tomatoes, a bottle of tonic. Why didn't he mention going to Tesco? Why didn't he text me? Why does he just do these secret errands? He bought pasta and forgot to narrate it, I said, and it came out drier than I intended. She rounded on me. You always do this. You make me feel like I'm insane for connecting dots. You're not insane, I said, but sometimes they're not dots. Then what are they? Groceries. She made a frustrated noise and tossed the gummy worms into her basket like they'd personally offended her. Here's the thing. I know where all of this comes from. She learned early that safety is about control. If you catalog enough details, you can catch danger coming down the hall. That's not crazy. It saved us more than once. The problem is it doesn't shut off when you move into a life where the danger is not a person you live in fear of, but just uncertainty, which is normal. So she hunts for threat and finds it in the way a seat is adjusted. She uses the tools that worked back then on a problem they're not built for now. I get it. I live with the same rewired alarms. I just don't build my relationships around them anymore because I learned the hard way that you suffocate people by trying to preempt pain. On the second night, around midnight, she started the loop about the calls. He knows that hearing his voice calms me, she said, picking at a hangnail until it bled. He knows. So why not pick up? It's 60 seconds. Go to the bathroom, say I love you, hang up. Done. If he can't do that, he doesn't love me. Or he's in the middle of a conversation and doesn't check his phone, I said. Or he thinks setting a boundary is healthy. A boundary? She scoffed like I'd suggested he adopt a puppy to fix their problems. What boundary? Ignoring your girlfriend? Choosing not to be on call at all times. That's a boundary. Her eyes flashed. You're taking his side. I'm not taking anyone's side. I'm trying to not lie to you. Then what? I'm wrong. I'm wrong to want to feel secure. You're not wrong to want to feel secure, I said, and it was like trying to defuse a bomb while it's already halfway gone. But the way you're getting it isn't working. That's all I'm saying. And what would work, therapist? She snapped. Since you've got all the answers. Therapy would help, I said, because ducking it felt cowardly. You know it would. She stood up so fast the gummy worms fell. I'm not broken. I didn't say you were. You think I'm broken. I think you're hurting, I said. And I think you pour that hurt onto whoever is closest and call it love. She flinched like I slapped her. I hated myself immediately, but it was out. She sat. She cried. I passed tissues and shut up. The next morning, she went to her parents. She didn't ask. She informed, like a kid telling the school office they're leaving early. Mom said I can sleep in my old room. I hate that room. It smells like dust. I hug her at the curb. She smelled like my laundry detergent and old tears. Text me when you get there, I said. She nodded. She did. When my flat went silent, it hit me like altitude. I stood in the kitchen and took a breath that reached the bottom of my lungs for the first time in 48 hours. I left the mugs in the sink. I took a shower, so hot it scalded, not because I was dirty, because I wanted to feel something that was mine. My phone pinged before I'd put on deodorant. Can you come over after work? Her. Immediately. No buffer. I stared at the screen, and something small and mean in me said no. It didn't say it softly, either. It said no the way you say no to a third drink you know will wreck your morning. I typed, I've got a medical appointment after work, sorry. A lie. My chest went hot. Lying to her felt like kicking a puppy. I pressed send anyway. She replied, okay, tomorrow. I typed, car's in the garage for service. I gotta wait for it. Another lie. I sent that too. I put my phone face down. I stood in my towel and listened to my heart whack against my ribs. Immediately, guilt. Heavy, stupid, useless guilt. I could imagine her seeing the 3 dots, waiting for me, hoping for me. I could imagine the spiral tightening without me there to stick a finger in and stop the spin. I could imagine her crying in that dust-smelling room. I imagine all of it because that's what I do. I anticipate the feelings of others and try to juggle mine around them. It's a skill, but it's also a leash. I made pasta. I ate it standing up. I sat on my sofa and stared at the TV, not on, just the dark rectangle, and felt like my life was an old apartment I was finally learning how to live in without lining up everything exactly right every second. Around 9, she called. I watched it buzz across the coffee table and didn't pick up. I texted, "In the appointment, can't talk. You okay?" She wrote, "No." Then she wrote a paragraph about how her chest hurt and how she tried to sleep, but her brain was shouting, and she sent a photo of the Tesco receipt like it was evidence in court. "See," she wrote, "I'm not making it up. There are always things like this. Always." I looked at the line items: crisps, pesto, chocolate, tomatoes, tonic. I wrote, "I see it." I didn't write anything else because anything else would become an argument. She called again. I didn't answer. She wrote, "I need you." I stared at that and felt the old version of me, the rescuer, capital R, pull on my sleeve. That person is a loyalist. He will burn himself to light your path. He will stop burning last. He is also an idiot sometimes. Instead, I typed, "I love you. I'm here. I can't talk right now. Breathe with me. 4 in, 4 out. Put ice on the back of your neck. Tell your mom you need a hug." She read it. She didn't respond. The phone went quiet for 5 minutes, then 10. My shoulders dropped an inch. Then she wrote, "If he loved me, he'd pick up." I could hear the edge. I typed and deleted, typed and deleted. Finally, I sent, "If he loved you, he told you the truth about what he can and can't do. That counts." She didn't write back. I put my phone in a drawer. I turned on the TV and watched a show I didn't care about until the laugh track made me want to stab my own ears. I turned it off. I sat in the quiet and let the quiet not be a crime. The day after that, at lunch, I met Elle at a cafe near her parents' place because I felt like a monster and because guilt is efficient at getting me to do things. She was already there when I arrived, picking apart a croissant like she could find answers in the lamination. She had her hair up in a knot that said she hadn't washed it. Her eyes were swollen. She looked at me like I was oxygen. "How was your appointment?" she asked, like we were in a polite interview. I felt the lie burn on my tongue. "Fine," I said. "Routine." She nodded like I'd said something profound. Her relief and my presence made me feel worse. We sat. I asked the right questions. She ran the loop again, this time with fresh angles I recognize from the way your brain will keep scanning the same picture for a new detail until you convince yourself you missed something crucial. She said, "He said he felt policed." Policed. Like I'm a cop. I'm his girlfriend. Isn't it normal to care? She said, "He didn't invite me to drinks with his friends on Thursday. Why would he not want me there?" She said, "If he finds other girls attractive, why can't he just say no when I ask? Why say, 'I don't really think like that'? That's evasive." She said, "He said he feels like he can't relax around me. I make him tense. Isn't that his problem?" At some point, I stopped nodding and started pressing. I don't know what switched. Maybe it was the way she talked about him like a puzzle box that was being intentionally difficult. Maybe it was the way she threw in a jab at me. "You probably think I'm crazy," and looked satisfied when I frowned, like she'd confirmed something she wanted to be true. Maybe it was the exhaustion. Honestly, the way my bones felt like chalk. "Oh," I said, and must have put something in my voice because she blinked. "You asked him to prove he loves you every day. Sometimes every hour. You set traps. If he says this, you're hurt. If he says that, you're hurt. You ask questions you don't actually want the answers to. You go through his bins like you're going to find a confession. You track him, and then you ask me if it's normal to be upset when his dot moves off his commute. You want certainty, and there isn't any. He told you he feels suffocated. You don't need to agree for that to be real." She opened her mouth, closed it. I watched the offense flush up her neck. "So I'm crazy and controlling. Got it. You and him should date." That's not what I said. "You basically did." I said he set a boundary and you didn't like it, I said. "I said your anxiety is running the show." I'm not saying it because I think I'm better than you. I'm saying it because I know what it looks like when you let fear become your personality. A couple at the next table paused mid-bite. I lowered my voice. "I love you," I said. "I love you enough to tell you that you can't use me as a replacement boyfriend and then get mad when I don't answer like a boyfriend would. I can't be on call every time your brain yells." "I won't be." She sat back like I'd flicked a switch and turned off a light. Her eyes went cold. "You're abandoning me." "I'm not. I'm setting my own boundary." "I hate that fucking word," she said, almost under her breath. Everyone hides behind it. It's just a way to make selfishness sound noble. It's a way to stay in each other's lives without killing each other, I said. I want to be in your life. Then be, she said, as if it were that simple. Not if the price is my sanity. We sat in that. It wasn't dramatic. No one threw anything. We just looked at each other across a table sticky with sugar and coffee rings and realized we were in different rooms. She left before I did. She said she had to go lie down. I watched her cross the street and not look either way and had to sit on my hands, so I didn't yell after her like a mother. I walked home. My phone was quiet for exactly an hour and then it lit up like a fruit machine. I talked to Mom and she said I should stop talking to people who make me feel worse. You made me feel worse. You're supposed to be my friend. How can you side with him? If he loved me, he would have stayed and worked on it. That's what love is. I would have done that for him. I hate that men get to set boundaries and women get called needy. A paragraph in all caps. Why couldn't he just answer for 1 minute? And then, please come over. Please. I can't be alone with this. I put the phone down. I walked into my bedroom and shut the door and lay on the floor because the bed felt too soft for the way my insides were vibrating. I stared at the ceiling, which needs paint, and thought about being 10, being 11, being 14, being 16, and how we learned to survive by becoming louder than whatever was trying to swallow us. I thought about how, somewhere along the way, I started whispering instead, and that worked better, and Elle never learned to whisper. She thinks whispering is giving up. The truth, my ugly little private truth, is I don't think Jade did anything wrong by ending it. I think he tried for 2 years to love someone who needed him to be a therapist, a bodyguard, a narrator, a parole officer, a goddamn GPS, and he eventually tapped out because he's human. I think if he'd stayed, he'd have gotten small and resentful, and she would have hated him for that. And then it would have gotten really ugly. I think leaving was the fairest thing he could have done. I haven't told her that last part in those exact words because I'm not trying to kill her. But I also can't sit in her living room and nod while she drags him like he's the latest in a long line of scumbags when really he was the first one who actually tried. I can't co-sign the story where her behavior is what people do when they're in love. No. What people do when they're in love is give each other space because love isn't a job where you clock in hourly to say the magic words. So I lied about my medical appointment. I lied about my car being in the garage. And the lies tasted bad going down, but they were also the first things I'd done for myself in days. I lay there on the floor and let the guilt sit next to me like a big, stupid dog. It didn't bite me. It just breathed heavy and stared. It eventually got bored and wandered off. That night, I answered one of her calls. I couldn't ignore all of them. She launched right in. You don't get it, she said. He knows my history. He knows what I've been through. He knows how my brain works. Why wouldn't he adjust? Why is the weight of this on me? Because it's your brain, I said as gently as I could find. Because the only person who can carry your fear is you. That's not fair. Maybe not, I said. But it's true. Silence. Then she said, Small, what do I do with this pain? You feel it, I said. You don't throw it at people. You don't try to outrun it into somebody else's arms. You feel it, and you survive it, and you take it somewhere a professional can help you unpack it. I can't afford therapy, she said automatically. We both know you can, I said. You just don't want to sit in front of someone who won't flinch. She cried. Not the hard, ripping kind from Saturday. Softer, more animal. I listened. I said I loved her. I said I was here. I said I couldn't come over. I said I was tired. I said it again when she tried to laugh it off. I need a night. She said, okay. It sounded like a foreign word to her mouth. Since Saturday, she's asked a dozen times if I can come by. I've said no 3 times. I've said yes 3 times. I'm making it up as I go. I'm trying to be a friend and not another person she uses to fill the silence. I'm trying to not be a human syringe of comfort she jabs whenever the shakes start. It feels cruel sometimes. It also feels like the only way this friendship has a chance of surviving our 20s. Last night, she sent me a photo of the passenger seat again, this time from memory on her phone, and wrote, Tell me I'm not crazy. I wrote, You're not crazy. I didn't add, "You're scared," even though it's the same sentence with the mean parts shaved off. She wrote, "I miss him." I wrote, "Of course you do." She wrote, "If he really loved me, none of this would matter." I stared at that for a long time. Then I wrote, "If he really loved you, you'd learn how to be okay without him answering every call." She hasn't replied. I keep thinking about that lobby floor and how quickly I went and how quickly I always go. I'm proud of that part of me, the part that doesn't hesitate. But I'm also thinking about the tiny voice that said no the other night and how I finally listened before I was empty. It was a new sound in my head. I want to keep it. I know she's in pain. I know I am not immune to the charge of being a shitty friend for choosing sleep and quiet over 3 more hours of looping the same argument about whether a Tesco receipt is proof of betrayal. I know all the reasons she is the way she is, and I know none of those reasons absolve her from the responsibility of not turning her partner, and me, into emotional crash mats every time her anxiety flares. I'm not mad at Jay for leaving. I'm not. It sounds incredibly draining to love someone who sees a moved car seat and hears a siren, who asks you to prove you're not lying by cataloging your day down to the toilet breaks, who calls you during your one night out just to hear "I love you" like a nicotine patch. I empathize with her deeply. I also respect the hell out of the man who looked at a situation that was killing him slowly and said, "No more." I've tried to play devil's advocate with Elle, to lay out his side without making her feel ganged up on. She doesn't want nuance. She wants an echo. She wants me to say he's a prick and that she's a normal girlfriend who wants normal things, and that if he loved her enough, he'd treat her anxiety like a scheduling issue. I can't say that. I won't. So I've been ducking her for a day, and probably tomorrow too, because I don't have the stomach for another hour of her trashing a guy for not wanting to live on a leash. Maybe that makes me the bad guy. Maybe it makes me sane. Maybe both. I keep thinking of the rule my therapist gave me. If it's born of love, it won't require you to lie every day to keep it alive. Elite. Twice. It felt like survival. It felt like betrayal. It felt like both. I know she's sad. I know she's really down about the breakup. I know I feel guilty for ducking and weaving. I also know if I keep scooping her up every time she melts, she'll never learn she can stand. I can love her and still not be her sponge. So I'm here, typing this on my phone like an idiot at 1 in the morning, asking strangers to weigh in because I don't trust my own calibration when it comes to this girl. Am I being cruel for lying to get some space? Am I enabling if I keep showing up? Is it okay to think he wasn't wrong? Is it okay to not want to sit through another round where she insists that if he'd just answered for 60 seconds, a relationship would still be fine? Am I the asshole?